And so here's some graphics here that I asked Garrett to put up. This is one thing about college football that they have to be careful of. Now, this is across the board in a lot of ways in collegiate athletics. Now, remember, 2020, we took that out. This is from the athleticdirector.com website. The average attendance last year in college football was 6.5% down from 2019, which was down the year before. Now, we're not talking chunks, but 6.5 could still be COVID-related because some were still concerned about going in front of whether it's 35 or 100,000 people. But look at that decline. But that's the attendance in football.
So some of that's COVID-related, and some of that is also financial-related, which
yes.
I guess could be COVID-related too, but financial-related because of people coming off. Or
every game's on TV.
Yeah, and the fact that sometimes, when you have something like 2020, I think this is what I think happened to the sports that have gone on strike the most, hockey and baseball in particular. There are people who, when they didn't have to watch baseball or hockey highlights on SportsCenter, they were kind of casual fans. When it went away, they realized they didn't miss it. So while you might still watch college football on TV because every game's on television, you might not miss hauling all the kids together and going out in the elements and tailgating and all that stuff. You might have just gotten to the point where you're like, hey, you know what? I'm saving $250 a week here, just on getting all of us down to the spot, not even on the tickets and all the other stuff. But I'll just skip it. Not that you can't afford it or can, but you're just like, that's it.
I wonder at times and I would never miss a college game. And again, I was much younger back then. There weren't as many games on. Now you just can't keep up with all of them. It's great, even though you have the replay shows and the summary shows and the game day shows, whatever. COVID in 2020, and as someone just put up, and this is M. Morris, the vaccine requirements in certain places as well. So that's still part of it, that 6.5% drop. Now, that was just to give you an idea. It's still trending like 1 or 2%. You do 1 or 2%, for 10 years, you're talking 20%. Now, here are the average FBS attendances in the same time period. Now, look at the conferences from 5 years ago. The ACC down 5,000. The Big Ten, a couple. Big 12, 3. The Pac-12, 7,000. SEC, as powerful as they've been, down 5,000. And then even some of the group of fives, the American Conference, Conference USA, MAC, Mountain West, all of them showing a decline. Sun Belt as well. Sun Belt only like 100 or so. Now, go to the next graphic. And I'm putting this up only to give you an idea for what the point is college football, with what they're doing, and they make a lot of money, and it is as good. The next level besides the pro football, NFL, which is, we know, untouchable, the college football has to be careful about losing some more viewerships as the networks pay more and more. Here's the highest average attendance, not a surprise. But look at the conferences to the right of the logos. The Big Ten has 4 of the 10. The SEC has 4 of the 10, and that does not include Texas, which will be there in a year, 2 or 3. And then also you have the Big 12, which is Texas, but they're about to leave. So 2 conferences, if you think about who's a part of it now and who will be a part of it, are the 10 highest average attendance. No matter the records. Nebraska was 3-9. Texas was 5-7. LSU was 6-6. Tennessee was 7-5. So was Penn State. Now, another one. I think there's one more. Is that it, Garrett? One more graphic. Now, this is the graphic on this story that I was reading earlier today. You have another one? Stadium capacity. Same schools pretty much, but look who's at the midsection, or third down. Utah. Not overall average attendance, but how about this? 100% of the capacity. Utah, of course, is in the conversation right now because of what might happen with them. 51,000, 100% plus capacity. Iowa State, incredibly rabid fan base, and of course they have been right there on the cusp, and of course last year ended up falling short of expectations, 98.7%, and then Baylor, Purdue, Appalachian State, all of them. And again, they're winning. Iowa State was 7-5, which was a disappointment based on expectations.
That Baylor number surprises me just on the early part of last season. It was not that.
No,
It was not. But they certainly rallied.
Now, one
towards the
thing,
end.
and someone said, yeah, but look at Appalachian State. It's 29,000. How do you... A lot of it depends on the size of the school. Baylor's a private school, and Waco's not one of your larger cities, although it's bigger than a lot of college towns. And they have struggled at times, even with the fact that they've been pretty damn successful the last 10, 12 years. But you have a facility or a stadium that's a certain amount of capacity, because why would you build one for 60, 80, 90,000 when it's never going to be more than 35 or 40,000? That's why some of the schools in the Big 12 and elsewhere have stadiums around 45 or 50,000.
That's why Baylor in every single one of their new stadium projects has downsized.
Yep.
Because they want to sell out. They don't want I mean, the tarp is still a joke about Floyd Casey Stadium. That they had the tarp there and the seats they couldn't
Never
sell.
lived that down until they started to get to a point where they moved into McLean Stadium, and they sold out a lot at Floyd Casey the last couple of years.
By the way, super chat from Kyle A.